Hello, everyone. Jacquie Edwards here. Happy New Year for those of you watching live. Today is January 1st, 2020, the start of a brand new decade. So Happy New Year. I'm super excited about what is coming for myself and for all of you as well. And today I wanted to talk about avoiding bad tenants. Now, I see this question so often from people that are just getting started in property investing. We see it in the news all the time, the scaremongering about how the tenant that wouldn't leave and the owner ended up, £10,000 in arrears for rent, or the tenant that completely trashed the house and the owner had to pay, 50 grand to refurbish everything. And, the photos of the piles and piles of garbage and rubbish that got left behind from the tenants. So how can we avoid that? Because that sounds super scary. We think it happens way more often than it really does. So first of all that news is basically scaremongering. Newspapers have to have something super crazy and exciting to write about. So that's one of the things that they write about. Just like they write about how terrible all the landlords are and how we're all ripping off our tenants and all of those types of things. It does happen, of course it does, but I do believe that you can avoid it and minimize your risks anytime you're renting out a property to tenants. So the first thing I recommend is referencing. You have to do referencing on your tenants. Now, it isn't absolutely foolproof, but if you're not doing referencing, you almost don't have a chance. You're for sure going to get some really bad eggs in there. I've found that, when I advertise my HMOs on Spare Room, there's a little tick box that you put that says, references are required. That first step right away starts eliminating a lot of the people that are going to cause trouble, because it's going to be a lot easier for them to go and look at viewings of properties that don't need references, that aren't even asking for references. So you're going to avoid a lot of those kind of crappy tenants straight away. By doing your referencing, I mean, you'll pick up any CCJs, so county court judgments, so where they've had debts in the past, any bankruptcies in the past. You'll be talking to their previous landlord and their employer. Of course, they can always give you fake names and things like that, but on the most part, that's not going to happen, and you're going to be able to just make sure that at a basic level, that tenant is pretty decent. The next thing you need to do is make sure you've met all of your tenants, or somebody on your team has met all of your tenants before you accept them as a tenant. This gives you kind of that gut feel factor. Now, not every tenant we have can come for a viewing at our property. Some may live, way up north and not be able to come down to Oxford to do a viewing. They might live overseas. So we always do at least, like a Skype or a WhatsApp, some kind of a video viewing with them, so that we can, show them around the property to make sure they've seen everything kind of live, and to make sure we've met them and that we get a good feel from them. Because I have turned away people that, we just haven't gotten the right feel from them and the right vibe for the house. And any time that I've not turned away somebody that I got that bad vibe about, they ended up being the wrong person to be living there, and we've had problems in the long run. So make sure that you trust that gut feel, basically, that you've got. And if you hire somebody to do your viewings for you, whether that's a letting agent or somebody that you hire for your team, that you trust that they've kind of got those people skills, that they can tell maybe this isn't the right person for you, and that they're happy to do that, because not everybody is comfortable saying no to people. So I've told people on my team, you can blame it on me if you need to say no to people, or you can just let them reserve the room, but just send me a message that says no, they're not the right person, and I'll send them a message back that refunds their money and says no, sorry, somebody else has taken the room, or something like that. So it's okay to tell people no, and if you're not comfortable saying no to their face, you can find another way to do it. It is okay to do that, because at the end of the day, having that little bit of uncomfortableness, or whatever, discomfort, that was probably the real word, having that little bit of discomfort in the beginning can save you months and months of agony if that person moves in and doesn't get along with the other housemates, if that person moves in and just stops paying their rent, starts making a mess everywhere. You can pick a lot of that up on gut feel. I mean, you can also have a look at their Facebook and social media pages. What kind of stuff are they posting on there? We've had tenants that have applied for rooms, and you look at their social media, or they've given us like their Skype name or even just their email for the referencing process, and it's full of like not very nice words. Those are not tenants that we want to have. So, I would instantly say no to them. Their Facebook page is full of like racist dialogue and stuff like that. We would say no to people like that because that's not who we want living in our houses. That's not who we want to have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's okay to make those decisions. So over the years, I've had a couple of tenants that haven't paid their rent. I'm going to say that does happen. As part of my business, it's such a minor amount of money. So I'd say I had one tenant. I've had probably the three tenants that haven't paid. It's been about £1,000 each. And, luckily I've been able to have a dialogue with those tenants. Some of them, they've just, lost their job. Things happen. And I've been able to work with them so that they move out of the house and we basically cut our losses there. So we haven't had any tenants that have just been like, I'm not moving out. I'm going to stay here and go through all the court processes until you get the bailiffs in to drag me out. That does happen from time to time, of course, and in those situations, make sure you hire a professional to help you. But again, I've been doing this. I've had hundreds and hundreds of tenants, and I've had, kind of three that have left without paying. And luckily, they just left. So all I'm out is a little bit of money, no hassle. Had that talk with them that says, hey, you're not paying your rent. You need to get out. And they've said, okay, we'll get out. I've had one tenant that had some bad mental health issues. That was kind of a bigger situation. That is a tougher thing to screen for, and really you can't screen for it. I mean, it happens. But again, we were able to work with him through the council to get him rehomed and make sure he had another place to live. He did, he did leave with about £1,000 worth of rent owed. There were some issues then with the housemates as well because there was some craziness. But again, over a couple of weeks and with really good communication with our other tenants who were lovely people, everything worked out in the end all right. So things will come up. You'll get some crazy tenant stories. It always happens to everybody as long as you're a landlord for a while. But if you've done that referencing up front, I feel very strongly that you will kind of mitigate those issues and they won't be as bad as the stuff that you hear about, in the newspaper. Those oftentimes are, landlords that aren't experienced, that have just, let their property and never gone and visited it for months and months and months at a time, or for years even, or, they've let it through an agent and the agent doesn't take care of the property. Not all agents are good agents, basically. Not all of them are actually going and visiting your property. Not all of them are really, gut checking the tenants, making sure that they really think that tenant is going to be a good fit in the property. They just want to get somebody in, move on, get their fees, and on to the next property. Not every agent is like that, but there are some like that. So you need to make sure you've done your referencing on your agents if you're going to use one of those, and make sure that they're a good fit for you and that they're going to find the right tenants for you. And when you're finding your own tenants, always do referencing and trust your gut feel. Even if you're desperate to rent out that room, it's better to say no to somebody and lose, a week or two more rent than to have the wrong person in that property. So that is what I think. I feel very strongly about this issue because I see so many people backing away from getting into property investing because they're scared about bad tenants. So having a strong referencing process is going to save you a lot of heartache and will just help you get into the process and get started, because I want you to make 2020 the year that you really make a difference in your life and in your property business. Make sure you check out, I'm doing a quick free video series right now. If you go to my website, rentrentacademy.co.uk, at the very top, you can sign up to get the videos. So loads of learning over the last couple of months. I love the Christmas time period and the holidays. So make sure you check out those videos. I've got some super special stuff coming up over the next few weeks, so stay tuned to your email, and I will see you again next week.